Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Achievers Zone Season 2, Episode 6. My name is Oluseyi Lala, and I'm so happy that we get to sit down with an HR guru. We were talking earlier about, being the bishop of, HR, the HR gospel, and this is him, Mr. Yemi Faseun. We call him YF. Everybody calls him YF, and you can see the picture. He's still looking as young as ever. And while we were talking before we started, he was just telling me about brand management and the fact that he likes to keep this as his unique brand across all social. So I also learned from that. Good morning, sir, and nice to see you. How are you?
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you will be listening from.
Right,
Yeah, great to be back on Achievers Zone. Yes, indeed, we have prophets. We made some predictions for you. let's
right,
revisit. Let's revisit the past this morning as we look
absolutely.
into the future. As we look into the
Good.
future.
Good. Thank you very much. I know you're busy. I always make this statement that you have hands in everywhere like an octopus. So it's also a privilege for us to have you join us on this platform. I know you have so many engagements lined up this weekend, but again, we appreciate the fact that you're sitting with us and we'll run through this. You know, time moves fast when we're having fun. I know the last time 4 years ago we had a session like this, and before we knew it, we were crossing 1 hour and all of that. So today he's our guest for this episode, and we're talking about the now of work and then other HR related challenges in our current timelines and climb. So just like you mentioned, just a brief introduction. We call you YF, everybody does, and I think that is also part of your branding with this picture. So you have almost 30 years of work experience cutting across major sectors with a proven track record, and I can say that because we've been colleagues in the previous life, and then you've been like my mentor, my big brother. I look up to you and all of that, and like what they say, that follow person wey sabi road. So you sabi the road, you've been there, done there, you have the t-shirt and you're wearing it, and we're just following you. So absolutely grateful for this engagement. You've been everywhere. I mean, you started out from HR. You have HR strategy as a subject matter expert. You talk about manpower planning, resource organization, and all of that. But I think the most important thing that people know you for now is your YF. Is it foundation or YF
YF Network.
consortium? YF network, basically. So is there something you want to just highlight from this your brief, and then maybe talk more about YF network?
Okay, so the YF Network is a group of professionals and entrepreneurs, businessmen coming together within a platform that allows us one another to network. Because it's not something that, how do I put it now? I realized that many people were looking for opportunities to meet other people, to network with other people. And because of the way I had grown in my career for about 30 years in 8 to 5,
Mm,
I had been involved in multiple networking situations, and then I found people saying, Yemi, what's going on? I want to join a network. I want to join." And then when you ask them the kind of network they want to join, you realize that mostly I
mm,
was in HR networks, and these guys were not HR people. They were salespeople,
right.
IT people, accountants, finance people. And I just thought, why don't we have a network that is agnostic of any profession or discipline, that accommodates
Mhm,
everybody
mm,
rather than just another HR group? So rather than saying let's bring together HR folks on a
yeah.
platform, I decided to extend that to other disciplines and other professionals, including businessmen, people I had known in my past life, new people I was meeting,
Mm,
and we started gradually about 4 years ago. And today we're about 262. Somebody just
wow.
joined last evening, yesterday at about 11 o'clock. So we are
Wow.
growing. We're growing. And there's an offshoot of that, which is the YF Academy. And the
Right.
YF Academy is catering now from a mentorship perspective for the younger professionals. Again, not directed strictly at HR, It's
Mm.
across all functions. Bring them together for 6 months, mentor them, and then release them into the world, so to speak. And we've done that since 2020 as well. Cohort 4
Wow.
is running as we speak. We are in the fourth month, about 2 months to go. And before the
Mm.
end of this year, we should start cohort 5. Looking
Wow.
beyond Nigeria, looking beyond Africa now, just making sure that we are grooming individuals who are workplace ready, and
Correct.
we focus on three things: life, leadership, and career. When they
Mm.
finish their 6 month mentorship, we move them into the alumni platform and we continue conversations with them. We still
Right.
continue, but focused attention is always on the current cohort for six
Mm.
months to
Mm.
say, let's bring in facilitators, other professionals to come and speak with them. I am not the only one who's mentoring them. Again,
Right.
leveraging on the network, YF network, leveraging
Mm.
on my professional associations, leveraging on individuals that I think can add value to them, and I bring them to talk to them twice every week for about 6 months. That's what I do outside of 8 to 5.
Wow, that is fantastic. I mean, and like I told you, you and I have this parallel vision, parallel idea about how we want to go about something like this to be a blessing to people. And I like the fact that it's a network because as you were talking, I just got reminded of this African adage that says to go fast, go alone, but to
Yep.
go far, go with people.
Oh,
And that's what you're doing. And I also like the fact that it's not discipline or career based where it's all just a whole lot of accountants or technical guys or engineers. It's a mixture because what I realized, and we're going to touch on it as well, is that the work of the future, the employee of the future has to be an all-rounder. You can't just focus on one end and say, oh, I only know accounting and that's it. You need to
mm,
know beyond your scope. I was telling you before we started that one of my recent thoughts is about going outside of your comfort zone and that's where the magic actually happens outside your comfort
correct.
zone. So if you're
Correct.
comfortable with your accountant colleagues, can you hold a conversation with the technical guy? Can you hold a conversation with an HR person or somebody from sales and marketing? Because the moment you start doing that, then you become an all-round international world-class employee that can work anywhere. And that's
Mm,
one of the things we're going to touch about because now the employers of the future are not just going to look for somebody in a particular locality. They can be in Spain and employ somebody in Elisha, and the person is doing the job, and everything is fine, and that's it. And you don't even know, speak. Maybe you can identify Spain on the map, but yeah,
mm,
their employee, and they give you salary and you deliver and all of that. So that is fantastic. I will follow through and continue to watch you as you develop the YF network, cohorts, and academy, and anything that the YF brand is going to bring out. Before
mm.
we go on, I wanted to ask you, how do you join or how do you qualify to be in the YF network?
Okay, so for the YF network, you will rarely see me talk about it anyway. I don't.
Right. Yeah.
We have grown organically, so to speak, from my initial 10 people that I sold the vision to, 10 or 12 in 2020, right in the middle of COVID,
Mm.
March 12th, 2020. Right in the middle of it, I sold that vision to my first 10 people. Yeah, 10 people. And guess what? They bought it into it immediately. And I'm like, oh, okay,
Right.
interesting. And since after then, people have found out about the YF network. I mentioned it in passing one on one to a couple of friends as time progressed, but
Yeah.
majority of the individuals on that network today, they found us out,
Right.
or other people referred them to us. So
Right.
I am not. This is not me asking anyone to please come and join the Wife Network and all that.
Right. Yeah.
But I also realized that if we left it open ended, um, value may be eroded because we are really value focused. So we're looking for like minds.
Mm.
So when like minds find out about us, they want to join us and we invite them. And it is subscription based. I don't want a
Right.
4,000 network or 10,000 network. If that was my intention, by now I'm sure we will have reached thousands. I am sure
Right.
by now. But that's
Yeah.
not the plan. The plan is a group of individuals with shared values and some form of commonalities to address issues now and also issues in the future. So we are subscription based. Anybody who wants to join,
Right.
we'll pay a joining fee, subscription fee, and then annually we charge very token just to make sure that we run the network. And just so that you know, we are highly structured. I've got a BOT.
Right.
I take all the decisions
Right.
myself. I have a finance team. I have no idea how much is in the coffers of the network as we speak. If we need to spend
Right.
it, we go through the BOT for approval. Then the finance team will release the funds for whatever thing we want to do. I have no idea how the funds are being managed. I just, I am just a platform
Mm.
where
Right.
professionals and entrepreneurs can come together and network. And I promise you, alliances are being built, friendship.
Absolutely.
Maybe one of these
Absolutely.
days we'll announce a TYFN marriage. Maybe.
Right.
What I mean?
Right.
But that's the idea. I think, like I said, 261, 262 people. Now, for me, it is organic growth. The same
Correct.
way I see organic growth from a career perspective is the same way I see from anything that I do. So you may not see me, you will not see me talk about it on any platform. Come and join the YF network. No,
Mm.
that's not the plan. So that's it.
So absolutely, and I think something came to my mind when you were talking about the fact that, oh, you don't like talking about your advertising for it. I'm sure you know about Saint Louis, the sugar, that sugar
Yes.
brand, Saint Louis. I've never seen an advert, but people buy it, and it just
Yes.
shows the focus is value based, not that you're looking for a crowd. And I really appreciate that it is
Thank
value
you.
based, and then let the value talk for itself.
Correct.
And that's basically it. So thank you so much for that. So let's
Thank
get
you.
to the crux of things.
Yes.
Like I said earlier, 4 years ago, about this same time, 27th of June 2000, we had the session with you in our first season of Achievers Zone. And of course, it was just something that I got inspired to do during COVID. And I just felt that, okay, you know what? A lot of people were struggling, people lost focus, and people were like, oh, just surviving COVID in year 2020 is an achievement. Let me just dump all my other goals and all my
Mm,
other targets.
mm,
And I was in the same boat as well until I got inspired to say, okay, wait, yes, COVID is happening, but other things can still be achieved, in that scenario. And that's how I started. And you were one of the first guys that I spoke with, and I was happy that you said yes, and we got on board, and things started moving. So yes, we had this almost identical time 4 years ago, and some of the things we mentioned, we were talking then about the future of work, because then we were looking at, okay,
mm.
how COVID has disrupted the workplace in terms of everybody was sheltering in
Right.
place, we're working from home. There was
Mm,
this new normal kind
mm.
of thing that, oh, is this going to be the way we go, or we go back to brick and mortar, offices, and that kind of a thing. And like I
Mm.
told you, I listened to that same episode just recently. I think I did last night as well, before today. And I just saw that a lot of the things we talked about then, actually happen. And I was asking myself, wait, are we prophets in terms of, in the gospel of HR? Are we prophet? Because almost all of the things we mentioned then, and I just
Mm.
listed a few of it just for this conversation. But of course, you can throw in other things that you remember, because I know we talked about working from home as going
Right.
to be that going to be the new normal. Then we talked about that phrase new normal as well, in terms of,
Right.
okay, will it be like an hybrid where some come to work on some days, some work from home, and it's a reality right now. They
Mm.
call it hybrid, where you do 3 days at home and then 2 days, I mean 3 days at work, 2 days at home, or vice versa, and all that. That was first thing we mentioned that I clearly remember. The other one was about the new work model, where employees now had, you know the power to select more than one job, with remote job, where I can have two or three and they are all remote, and I treat them simultaneously. Maybe
Mm.
8 to 12 with one, 12 to 3 with another, and then
Yep.
3 to 5 with somebody else. And
Mm.
and that's what is happening today. And then also the new business model, where organizations are now going down that digital transformation path. Because when we mentioned it then 4 years ago, we said there were three channels or three buckets:
Mm.
those that were already in that zone, ready to transform, and COVID happened and they just transformed; those that were on the way and just trying to tag along and just copy people; and those that had no clue about what was happening. And I remember we talked about even churches, where some churches that were already, doing stuff online, it was easy for them when they said, "Oh, no more physical, gathering," and everybody just switched online, and we're still using that today. I still joined my church prayer 6 to 7 this morning, and that's basically how it is, and I still feel the presence of just like I'm there physically, you know. So, how accurate were our discussions 4 years ago?
Um, a prophet has no honor. But the best way I'll probably say this is, sincerely, let me not lie, I've not listened to that recording, the one we
Right.
did almost exactly 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But as we were talking earlier on, all the conversations were just coming to me. And I did
Right.
say to you, please share with me again the link and let me
Yeah.
listen. For anybody to understand the context of now, they need to revisit that episode. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? And listen
Yes.
to it. If you
Yes.
have an hour to invest, I promise you, please, Shay, you probably will put on the link somewhere where
Yes.
they can get it so that they
Yes.
can revisit that episode. Things
Right.
we said were almost accurate. So
Absolutely.
let's not take the place of God and say that we're 100% accurate in our predictions. But you
Right.
see, this is it for me. We were already talking about the future of work
Right.
before the future itself happened in 2020. So,
Correct.
whilst it was COVID that fast forwarded the now of work,
Right.
what we thought was going to bring the future to happen was technology. And to a
Correct.
very large extent, we were right.
Yes.
Technology was already allowing us to do many things, to
Absolutely.
try out many things, to do things differently. Whilst many people were trying harder, some were
Mm,
trying differently, getting
absolutely.
ready for the future. So we're
Yes.
already seeing instances of possibilities. What we
Mm.
didn't know was how fast
We're
COVID
going to get
was
there.
going to change our world in
Absolutely.
dramatic fashion. And
Right.
COVID just came, and honestly, like we say in religious terms, our lives have not been the same again. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so those predictions around three basic areas were almost accurate. We
Yes.
predicted around the worker. We said the worker was going to change in the
Correct.
future. We predicted about the work. We
Yes.
did say the work itself that we were doing was going to change in structure, in texture, in
Yes.
format, and we
Yes.
predicted the workplace. We said the
Right.
workplace was going to change.
Yes.
We were talking about the new normal. What I didn't know then was that post COVID, we were going to go into a new abnormal, which is
Mm.
where we are now. We are in the
Now.
new abnormal. We were still
Correct.
focusing on the new normal. So it was basically those three things. And if anybody thinks back to 5 years ago, prior to
Mm.
COVID,
Mm.
how the worker was, how work was, and how
Yes.
the
The
organization,
workplace.
the workplace was as well, and consider those three dimensions, right, or three variables, and how they are today, you see that our predictions were almost spot
Spot
on.
on.
The worker
Absolutely.
has changed. Work has
Absolutely.
changed. The
Mhm.
workplace itself has changed. As I'm
Mm.
talking to you, let me just share what has happened between that last episode and now. I was
Right.
still, I was still in an 805 when we had
Yes.
that. I was at Glow, right? This was
Yes.
June.
Correct.
So I was at Glow. Interestingly, somebody's at Glow today. You are at Glow today as the deputy
Right.
CEO, right? I was at
Yes.
Glow as the head of HR at that time. And despite the fact that we were in a lockdown situation, sort of,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was still going to work every day.
Mm.
I remember that I had to tell my driver to not come to work for 5 months. I was
Mm.
driving because of
Right.
all the COVID restrictions and all of that.
Yes.
So I was
Yeah.
going to work because we were under essential services. So
Mm.
despite COVID, some people were still going to work physically, just that we were limiting interactions and all that. But what has happened,
Yeah.
Shay, in the last 2 years, 8 months, I have been running the YF network. No, not the YF network, the
Right.
YF partners as an organization, as a consulting
Okay.
outfit, YF
Yeah.
talent partners. And guess what? We predicted then
Mm.
that the workplace was going to change. My
Right.
workplace is where I am at the moment. And I promise you, it's in my house. I have
Yeah.
not I've not had to go and rent an office. I've not had
Mm.
to go and employ anyone. The only
Right.
overhead I have at the moment was the only overhead I had at that time, which was my driver. But
Right.
right till today. And have I worked with other people in 2 years, 8 months across different sectors? Absolutely yes. I've got
Yes.
Solar Alofe constantly on projects and engagements with me, right?
Mm.
Every time.
Right.
And when the projects are beyond two people, guess what? We call in people to join.
Correct.
Project is over. To your tent,
Expand
go
the
in.
team. Right.
Everybody leaves the project. Another one comes up. We come together again to collaborate. And as we
Mm.
speak, the worker location has not location has has become a no showstopper right now.
Absolutely.
So I've
Right.
got a guy who works with me in Germany. I've
Mm.
got a guy who works with me. I've got a lady who works with me in Canada. I've got two people who work with
Mm.
me in Nigeria. So on project basis. So you could say that
Right.
my company is not location specific in
Right.
terms in terms of the workforce. Those
Mm.
are the possibilities that have existed today. We know many organizations, including I think Philips Consulting, they have
Mm.
been on remote work mode from that time till
Mm.
today.
Wow. Okay.
Yes,
Four
I,
years.
I actually thought they had gone back to work until we had a talent management program recently, and the MD was confirming they still work remote. And is
Wow.
that business growing in leaps and bounds? I promise you,
Absolutely.
yes, it is.
Yes.
So
Mm.
all those predictions have come, and even more, even the ones
Mm.
we didn't envisage. We,
Yes. Yes.
we thought it was work from home, but
Mm.
today it is work from anywhere.
Absolutely.
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? So
Yes.
yes, you're right, Shay. Predictions totally correct. Work has changed. The worker has changed. The workplace has changed as well.
So I like the fact that you highlighted those three things because that is more like what is happening now, which we call the now of work, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
in this conversation, you've also highlighted the differences between then 4 years, I mean between 4 years ago and now, between then and
correct.
now. And
Yes.
for me, the confidence is propping up for us to say, okay, should we attempt to predict the next 4 years and see and see how things go?
Ah,
So essentially, what's going to be we'll call it the future of work now, looking
yes.
from this year into 2028, 2029. Do we want to attempt to do that?
Ah, should we attempt to do that? It's tough because of what technology is allowing us to do, right?
Yeah,
The dimensions of those three variables
right,
will continue to change.
right.
Let me make one prediction now.
Okay,
Let
let's
me try
go.
one. Let me try one, and we will
Right.
revisit it again later.
Yeah.
The worker that let me just take the worker, right? In other parts of the world, being a contract staff or
Yes.
engaging in contract work mode uh, had become almost normal.
Mm-hmm.
In our side of the world, I remember a lady who went on Twitter maybe 3, 4 years ago and was crying that in one of the first generation banks, she had done 10 years. Nobody, I'm not sure if you saw that clip,
No, I
nobody,
did.
nobody converted her to full-time
The permanent
employee,
staff.
and,
Okay.
and she was crying. Guess what's going to happen? We will willingly, in the
Take
future,
contract. Yep.
take contract jobs. In fact, we will
Absolutely.
say to employers, no, I don't want full-time employment. I want
Right.
contract employment. We will
Right.
have more. It's already happening though,
Yes.
but it
Yes.
will become almost like a way of life. So
Mm.
you know what's going to change? Our HR policies will change.
Yes.
Our compliance policies will change,
Yes.
definitely. And of
Yes.
course, how we manage talent will also change.
Yeah.
It looks like the domain of IT is the only area already leveraging on those possibilities right now.
Mm.
Software
Mm.
developers,
Mm.
software engineers,
Programmers and things. Yeah.
programmers, and all that.
Mm.
Believe me, more HR people will become contractors.
Mm.
we will gladly wear
That
the
as a badge
the
of
toga,
honor.
the badge. We will
Yes.
wear it and say, yes, with my full chest, I want to be a contract staff. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
People are not going to people are not going to be interested anymore in your pension.
Mm. Right.
Your pension is too futuristic for them. Because
Right.
of all the global concerns of financial anxiety at the moment,
Mm.
people are going to say, no, I need my money now. Don't worry about
Yeah.
pension. I want to be a
Right.
contractor. As a
Yes.
contractor, I
Yes.
don't get pension. It's fine.
It's
Take care
fine.
of my today. Let tomorrow
Right.
take care of itself. So
Right.
more
Right.
people. I mean, if people have asked me personally as well if I'll be going back to 8 to 5 like that, and I'm like, let's see. It probably will be, hey guys, happy to do that, but I am also happy to do my own thing like I'm doing right now. Can
Right.
we combine both? So the
Yeah.
possibilities are going to be more in terms
Yeah.
of the new worker and the work mode. I see
Mm.
more organizations. See, cost of doing business, especially in
Yes.
our part of the world, is also a factor to consider.
Correct.
So
Correct.
it's one cost of doing business on the part of the employer, and also the cost of being an employee,
Mm.
the part of the worker. When we consider those two parallels, we will be
Right.
looking at how to come together, employer and employee, to reduce the cost of doing business and the cost
And the
of being
cost
an
of
employee. So
mm.
at
Right.
times we may not increase your salary, but we may find ways to reduce your costs of being an employee.
Right.
And one of that is commuting. One of
Yes.
that,
Correct.
therefore, is, oh, can you do this at home or
Correct.
from anywhere? We will move more. We are doing it already. We'll move more away from managing by presence
Yeah.
to
I was gonna
managing
say
by
that.
performance or managing by
Correct.
objectives or managing by
Correct.
results. So what's
Yes.
important is I don't want to commit 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. I want
Mm.
quality lifestyle. So
Yeah.
please, what is determine my deliverables and engage me if I am delivering for you. The location of my deliverables should not
Should
matter.
not matter.
So
Correct.
we move from management by presence to management by objectives or results or productivity or performance. What again
Right.
I would like to see? I see the new generation, the Gen Zs, the younger generation, the Gen
Mm.
Zs now and the Alpha generation, they will be in the workplace by the next 4 years. The Alpha
Right.
generation. We are
Yes.
already seeing some of them coming to do IT,
Yes.
coming to do attachment,
Internship,
industrial
attachment. Right.
internship. They're still in school, they're doing internship, but full blown in the next 4 years,
Yeah.
we'll see
Yeah.
them as not just graduate trainees, but we'll see them as already first, second level in the hierarchy of the organization. And the way we
Mm.
are going to manage talent will be totally different because these guys
Absolutely.
are totally different. We are going to have more digital natives
Native.
take over
Correct.
the workforce. We
Correct.
are going to
Yes.
have a retirement of the analog generation. More of them are in the
Absolutely.
workplace. So try and imagine that millennials are then becoming directors in
Yeah.
organizations, and
Yeah.
managers are becoming Gen Zs, and
Yeah.
then the lowest side of the
Yes.
hierarchy will be Alpha generation.
Yeah.
There are three generations digitally savvy. In fact, we can
Absolutely.
say that we downloaded them from devices into the
Yes.
world, right?
Correct.
So, will it impact leadership? Yes.
Yes.
Will that impact employee experience? Yes. Will that
Absolutely.
impact culture of work? Yes. Now,
Absolutely.
let me share with you what I shared with my guys on the YF Academy on Thursday. Today, Saturday, 2 days ago, I was
Yeah.
talking to them about office etiquette. And I was going to have that conversation within about 60, 70 minutes
Mm.
around physical. and remote work etiquette. I
Right.
spent the whole time on remote work etiquette. I didn't
Wow.
even touch at all
The
office work.
physical. Right.
I mean, the physical, I did not. It was about handling yourself at meetings, professionalism, language, communication, emotional intelligence, how we must transform all of that from the physical setting, which we have been preaching all this while, into a virtual setting. How do
Yeah.
you continue to build your brand professionally, despite the fact that you don't see your colleagues maybe
On a
more than
regular basis.
once or
Mm.
twice in a year? How do we
Mm.
continue to do that?
Right.
So the dynamics will continue to change as we move into the fifth industrial revolution. By
Correct.
that time, the fifth industrial revolution would have hit us fully in the face. More robots, more
Yes.
machines, more
Yes.
artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Everybody's talking ChatGPT and other AI tools at the moment. Somebody said it will make us become lazier. I don't agree. And the example I always give is, for instance, when the calculator first came,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
You know, before the calculator, you have to do your things manually.
Or use abacus.
About 744 times 300. Nobody will be
Mm-hmm.
able to do that today and say, Tiwa Jope, please give me a piece of paper. I want to do mathematics. Everything is on here
Right.
on the calculator.
Mm.
So AI will take over more mundane things. More,
Exactly.
I wouldn't say more jobs will be lost. I would say more routine parts of our
Exactly.
jobs will be taken over, and that also means that we need to have new skills of the future as the
Absolutely.
old skills are giving way to new realities. For
Yes.
me, those are my predictions for the next 4 years.
So I totally agree, and I'm happy we're recording this because we will still revisit this in another 4 or 5 years. And I
Yes,
like the last one you're mentioning about, the Gen Zs, the millennials, Gen Zs, and the last
alpha
the
generation.
yes, because just like you said, they're going to get into the workplace, and these guys are already digital natives. And the
Mm,
last part you mentioned about, the adoption of AI, because again, I'm a project manager. I've been in project management for so long, and even
yeah,
project management is infusing AI into our work.
there you go.
I had to do a recent certification on generative AI
Mm,
as a tool for project and program managers, and they're infusing it. And I keep telling people that AI is not going to, take over your job. It is actually people that know how to use AI that will take over your job. And that's the thing. So people need to also focus on that. I use AI in my job every day. I'm trying to get something. I want a picture of something. I just go there. It gets me a picture. I'm trying to compose something. I say, okay, do this for me. But of course, you cannot just verbatimly copy and paste everything from AI. That's
yeah,
where the human intervention comes in, because you now have to put the emotional intelligence into it, the ethics and all those things. The tool
right.
itself cannot do that. It doesn't have a soul. It can't do
Yeah,
that, which is where
yeah,
the human comes. So I tell people that it's not the AI itself that will take over your job. It's actually people that know how to use it that will take over your job, and then it will take over the automated, mundane things that you do on a regular basis, so that you can have time to focus on more strategic and impactful things. So yes, thank you for that. We'll hold you to this. We'll hold ourselves to this, and then pick it up again in the future. So
sure.
let's go to the current HR challenges. And I just again highlighted a few. You are free to add to this. But recently, a lot of employers talk about mental health. In fact, there's a mental health week where HR comes in and bringing experts to talk about different things. Unfortunately, there's a recent news about I think the ex-CEO of a major, company in Nigeria that just committed suicide, jumped off
Right.
his wall, and everybody from outside says, "Oh, this guy is fine. He's a techie. He moved into entrepreneurship. What happened and all of those things." And these are the things that are, like silent killers that we also need to address. So that's one challenge I would like to talk about. Second thing is about the Japa, effect. For those that don't understand that, that's more like the migration of skilled people out of Nigeria, looking for greener pastures and all of that. And somebody recently said there is also the Japada effect where they've gone for greener
No, no, it's
pastures.
actually Sakpada.
Oh, it's
It's
Sapada. Okay.
Sakpada.
Okay, fine. Where they've gone out there, they've tried it, and they see that, man, things are actually not that easy. And they're looking to come back because home is always home, and they want to come back and still reintegrate into the workforce in the country. So those are the two things that I want us to, just talk about. And if you have any other challenge, we can also add to it. And then we go into the productivity and motivation part as we look to round up.
So let me take them one after the other. And do you
Yeah.
know where I love to start from? I'd love
Tell
to
me.
start. I think I agree with your current challenges, but I'd like to start with what I have been involved with in the last maybe 4 to 5 years. The
Right.
first challenge that I see is leadership in the
True.
workplace.
And that's a major one. That's a major
I
one.
I actually do think that if we handle corporate leadership very well, we may see a reduction of the negative impacts of the four other areas we've highlighted here.
Right. Right.
Everything, like John Maxwell will say,
Rise
everything
and fall.
rises and falls on leadership. That's the
Absolutely.
thing. So,
Mm,
leadership is a major challenge
right.
in the now of work. And I'll
Mm,
tell you why. From my perspective, this is what I've seen. Because of that fast forwarded future,
mm.
4 years ago,
Yeah.
aided by primarily back end technology, but front end COVID 19,
Yes.
we found out those changes happening very quickly to work, to the workplace,
Mm,
and to the worker. So,
mm,
to the worker and the work, closely related, new skills, new
mm.
technologies of doing things, virtualization,
Yes.
globalization, and
Yes.
the younger generation then were able to deliver results faster for the
Yes.
organization because we can leverage on digital, we can
Correct.
leverage on technology. So, guess what we have been doing? Excuse me, apologies. In the last
Yeah.
couple of years, what we have been doing, therefore, is to focus on their technical delivery, therefore,
Mm,
focus on their performance and productivity. And guess what
mm.
we were doing? We're promoting them into leadership positions.
Right.
We're combining tenure with performance. Oh, you've done
Mm.
3 years of this role and you're doing well. We promote you.
Then right.
Another 2 years or 1 year, you're doing well. We promote you. And
Mm.
very quickly, we promoted them into leadership responsibilities. But in the
But
last couple of years, we have neglected the fact that we needed to bring them up to speed in terms of leadership
leadership skills.
capabilities.
Right. Right.
So they have been doing same old to the point
Mm.
when they became team lead, when they became supervisor, same old technical
Yeah.
ability, doing operational transactions. Then they became managers and HODs today. And they are
Mm.
leading people
Mm.
in groups of 3 and 5 and 10. And in
Mm.
some instances, I promise you, in fintech environments, they're leading like 20 or 40
Yes.
people.
Right.
But how have they grown into that leadership position? By doing things technically.
Technical.
Nobody got them ready for leadership responsibilities.
Hmm. Wow.
So we have more conversations in the last 4 years than in the last previous years about
Mm.
toxic work environment.
Yes. Yes.
And it's not because people want to be toxic, if you ask me. It is
They
because they
were
just don't know how
people.
not to be toxic.
Correct. Correct.
Nobody is teaching us what we call the soft skills, but what I call power skills. Power
Mm.
skills of collaboration, of emotional intelligence, leading with
Yes.
empathy, leading with
Correct.
connectedness, leading with humility, leading
Mm.
with trust. You
Mm.
know, nobody, no, they, so many of them, many, and I stand to be corrected. Many of them don't understand the difference between micromanaging and being an
Mm.
inspiring leader.
Right.
Those
Right.
are fundamental leadership tenets that if we
Yes.
don't get it, the workplace will be full of conflicts
Mm.
from time to time, and
Mm.
therefore We will have the horrible bosses saga. We will
Yeah.
have the toxic environment conversations. People will go on social media and
I
drag their
got to say,
organizations and
right.
tear people apart and all that because people were not in the first place prepared for those
Mm,
responsibilities. So
mm.
leadership failure, and many instances of it, is staring us in the face at the
Yes.
moment, in the now
Correct.
of work. That for me is fundamental. We've got to deal with it. Now, let me
Yeah.
tell you how that is affecting the other four areas.
Yes.
Employees' mental health. I am working with a boss who does not understand how to lead people.
Mm,
Doesn't understand all the things I've been saying. My
yeah.
boss is a micromanager.
Mm,
Meanwhile, I am looking for meaning. My boss
yeah.
is just saying, am I not paying you well? For the boss, it's money. For me, it's
Money.
meaning.
Yes.
For me, it's purpose. I want purpose in what I do. I want to be connected, not just with the job, the fact that it's paying me
Mm.
money, or general purpose of life. What is this job driving me
My
to do?
contribution.
My
Mm,
contribution
mm.
to the organization, one, to my ecosystem, to
Yes.
my community, to my
Yes.
family. I mean, you guys have suffered enough. You don't want to suffer like you, older generation. I want
Right.
purpose out of life. But my boss is talking about I'll promote you if you do well.
Mm, mm.
For the boss or leader or manager, it's promotion. For me, it's purpose. And
Purpose.
then I'm
Right.
saying quality of life. I want quality of life. I want quality of the workplace. I want quality of
Yes.
leadership. I want
Yes.
quality of the job that I do. But my boss is saying, I'll give you more salary. I'm looking for sanity. My boss is talking about
Mm,
salary. So,
mm.
what's going to happen to my mental health? I work
Yeah.
with a boss who doesn't understand me, my why, my purpose,
Mm.
and all that. All we are concerned about is my deliverables, my
Right.
report. I'll send
Right.
you an email at 1 a.m. I'll send
You
you a
must
reminder
answer.
at 4 a.m. and I'll
Yeah.
expect you to deliver that report by 8 a.m.
Mm,
Another
mm.
thing, in the tech space and across different disciplines, we've been raising funds.
Right.
And those funds were coming in. I understand that there is a kind of dryness around fund into
Yes.
Africa at the
Correct.
moment. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
But guess why? Why? Because there are so many instances of startup failures.
Yes.
We have been raising funds, not understanding the fact that raising funds is not the same thing as raising or leading people or leading the
Mm.
organization.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have the funds to be able to do the business. It's another thing to be able to lead a team to achieve your results for scaling so that you can
Correct.
pay back funds.
Correct.
And
Yes.
because again, there is that gap between, oh, I can raise money. Again, raising funds is almost in the domain of technical abilities.
Technical ability. Correct. Yes.
I'll put my proposal together. I'll tell you how
Yeah.
I'm going to do that product, provide that
Yeah.
service, and
Yeah.
then how I'm going to scale. I'll put it
Yeah.
together in solid, convincing manner, and then
Mm.
you dip your hand into your pocket and you give me $4 million. And then question for me is what next?
Mm.
Where
Right.
are the business fundamentals? Who's teaching business fundamentals? It's
Yes. Yes.
okay to be a founder and a co-founder. The titles are great. But the
Yes.
point is, leadership is not about the title or the position, is how we
Yes.
make people feel. And I tweeted
Yes.
this just last night on Twitter, right? I posted this on X last night.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
said that leadership, I want to read it verbatim. It says
Okay.
that um, your title is a guy holding a banner. Your
Mm.
title doesn't make you a leader. How
Right.
you make people feel does. And I posted the picture and I said, "Dear unit head," because anytime I talk leadership, I'm not talking
Yeah.
of executive director or MD. I'm talking of
Right.
leadership at the various levels of the organizational hierarchy. So I
Mm.
said, "Dear unit head, team lead, manager, HOD, ABBL." You know what ABBL means?
No.
Atibe.
Okay. Right.
It just said gentle reminder. So the
Mm.
picture is that your title doesn't make you a leader. How you make people feel does.
Feel. Right.
And that's the reality. So who's teaching people how, or who's teaching leaders, managers, HODs, supervisors, how to make people connect with them so that people can now
Yeah.
connect with the vision of the organization
Right.
or the vision of the
Yes.
department. So there is a vacuum. Sincerely, there is a vacuum. So is it leading to more mental health conversations? Yes, it is.
Yes. Absolutely.
So we
Yes.
need to revisit the fundamentals. And Shay, I did HR for like 24, 25 years, but in my last 2 years, 8 months as a consultant, I have
Mm.
dealt more leadership trainings and leadership
Mm.
projects than HR. I promise you.
Wow.
It's that
Wow.
close to my heart. This week,
Mm.
this week I had conversations with an organization called Lemfi. All their team leads
Okay.
and managers were all in the room, 33 of them. We went through a 2 day leadership transformation program.
Mm.
And then
Mm.
day before yesterday, I also was at Lakwe with Bono Energy, where we were talking
Right.
about driving a high performance culture. We
Mm.
need great leaders in corporate Nigeria so that the mental health issues can please reduce. And you don't
Right.
blame anyone. You put me into a leadership position, you didn't get me ready for leadership responsibilities. That's the number one
Mm.
for me. And it's affecting, yes, I have highlighted how it's affecting mental health. It's affecting mental health to the point that on a Sunday evening, I am thinking, gosh, I'm going to go walk with that guy again next week. It's almost
Yeah.
Monday morning.
Right.
Fear, there is heart palpitation, there is almost mental shutdown because you just don't know what you're going to face. The guy who
Yeah.
screams at you, shouts at you, doesn't understand you, doesn't connect with you, no empathy, lacking in
Right.
communication. But that's my manager, and that's the person I work with. My bills need to be
Yes.
paid. So
So you just suck
I'm
it up and you go.
you suck it up and go. So I'm constantly that way. However, to number two, the new
Mm.
employee in the now of work has
Right.
choices. They have choices. In
Right.
the past of work, right, the choices were limited, but
Limited.
the
Mm.
opportunities today are unbounded. The
Yes.
next competition to an organization is not that company A or company B.
Down
It
the
is
road.
country.
No.
It's country A or country B. It is the three usual suspects: UK, US, Canada. Opportunity.
Yes.
Those guys are saying to our people, our talent, come over. The door is open.
Right.
Then
Yes.
Australia
Yes.
joined the fray, and then Sweden
Yes.
joined, then
There's
Finland
Dublin
joined,
as well.
and then Germany recently said you can come over. You
Yeah.
see, so the options are there. So are people not going to Japan?
Yes.
They will
Absolutely.
Japan.
Yes.
So many people say it's because of the political situation, it's the economic situation, it's the security situation, primarily. But I agree those are primary, no, those are issues to consider. But
Mm-hmm.
I totally believe, and this is because I work with young people, Shay. I tell
Yeah.
you that leadership failure in corporate Nigeria and possibly corporate Africa is leading our people out of this continent, out of this country.
Yes.
They tried the
Yes.
small
I
scale, the one man business, it didn't work. They tried the SME, it didn't work. They tried some
yeah.
multinationals, international organizations. It's the same thing. What's going to be the next?
Out.
Absolutely. So you
Yeah.
can see how leadership has that impact on every area of work and
Mm.
worker within the workplace. So where do we leave motivation, therefore, if all this is happening? You know what
Mm.
I see?
Mm.
I see a lot of bandage fixing options to deal with these
Right.
issues. Just
Paper over
bandage
the
the
cracks.
just bandage the wound so that it can
Mm.
stop bleeding. But guess what? We are not fixing the issues.
Wow.
So let's build a gym. Let's do TGIF. Let's buy drinks. Let's do a party. All we are doing is bandaging the wounds. What we
Mm.
need to do
Mm.
is go to the root causes rather than saying that, oh, it appears that employee morale is low. Let's take them out on TGIF so that they can
Mm.
slush and eat
Right.
and party.
Right.
You know what? Once the party is over, they come back to the reality. Partying
Right.
is so transient. The reality, the
Mm.
fundamentals are the things we need to deal with. What we need to do is call them to the table and say, why are you burning out? Number one, why are
Right.
you not engaged? What's
Yes.
affecting your motivation? And then I
Hmm.
promise you, no matter how many those issues are, I will always, I will always box them into two quadrants: leadership
Yes.
and culture. If we get leadership right, we get culture right, then employees' motivation, employees' wellness will be on the rise. And who is going to be the better for it? The department and the organization ultimately. Even when they
Absolutely.
leave, even when they leave, they will leave on a good note, they will leave with good memories, they will leave with good stories, and two things are
Yeah, and
likely
they
to
will live
happen.
as ambassadors.
They will become your ambassadors. Thank you. And if they don't, if they become your ambassadors and there
Absolutely.
are possibilities of them coming back to your organization, they will come back. So they can come back, or if they don't come back, they become your ambassadors. So you can see that it's all around leadership. And when I say leadership and culture, for me, I can't separate both. I can't separate both. When
Absolutely.
a leader looks at the mirror, what a leader should see is culture. Because culture
Yes.
is not what
Because
we
it comes
write.
from him. Yes.
Absolutely. It's not what we write on the wall on our website, it's what we live out on a daily basis. Many people are focusing on culture from an iceberg perspective, that is on the
Right.
surface, above
Surface.
the above the surface. But where culture is really beneath the surface. The things that we
Rooted.
don't, the things that we leave out. So leaders must retain that primary responsibility of being custodian of great culture, and therefore you will have great employees, great results,
Mm.
high employee engagement scores, high trust
Yes.
index in the organization,
Yes.
and all that
Yes.
will lead to one, individual productivity going up, and also results for the organization going up.
Mm.
So
You know
you
what?
can
You know
you
what?
can see how everything is related to
I need to
leadership.
tell you this. I
Yeah.
need to tell you this for record purpose, right? I'm going to
Mm.
update this slide and make that the number one challenge, and all these other ones are just the ripple effect because I did not see from that perspective, and you bringing it
Mm.
out, it just ties to everything because you know what they say that people resign from managers, not from organization. It's
Correct.
actually what you engage with your line manager that determines whether you are happy in that organization or not, because that's a person that you feel and touch and interact with on a daily basis, you know. And
Correct.
I also did series, I called it career series, where I talked
Mm.
about line managers in particular. And this particular point, I mentioned it where for techie guys, right, we've been doing stuff, we're comfortable with our PC, with our machines, and then we've been promoted because of that performance, and we get to leadership position, we don't have the leadership skill. So I'm still
Yep.
treating people the way I treat my machine, and
There
that's
you go.
how that toxicity comes in. And of course that's a ripple effect. So I'm going to update this slide. Thank you so much for highlighting that, because leadership and culture is the main challenge, and these are just ripple effects from it. So I'm going to do that,
Correct.
and then just update this accordingly for record purposes, because this engagement is insightful for me as well, just listening to you. So thank you for that.
Thank
Again,
you.
you know what they say, that time flies when you're having fun. It's almost an
I
hour and
know.
it doesn't feel like that. So let's just
Yeah.
quickly run through this because I know you also have other engagements today. So it
Sure.
just ties into this pyramid of high performance. And just to let you know, I've been doing a research for the last 2 years about productivity, because it's something I want to delve into for my doctoral studies and all of that. So I just look up articles that talk about team performance, organizational behavior, productivity, and things. And I stumbled on this one. It's an HBR 2001 article that talks about the making of a corporate athlete. And I saw this fantastic pyramid that everything builds up from your physical capacity to your emotion to your mental and spiritual. And a lot of people don't, they shy away from talking about spirituality. And it was amazing for me to see in an Harvard Business Review article where they dedicated time to talk about spiritual capacity, because it is also part of what makes you a high performance individual or team in an organization. So it starts from physical, where, of course, like I was talking to you earlier, that if you have, a sickness or an ailment, it will affect affect your performance because you won't be able to do things the way you're supposed to. You can't stand up for long, you can't do stuff, so it affects it. So your physicality and your physical capacity is important. But then your emotional, which we touched, on, and mental is also part of it, and then your spiritual as well. And I like this, the other one on the side that talks about rituals. Rituals are just routines that you need to do. So I have a routine for my physicals in terms of going to the gym, what I do. I carry weights, I do aerobics, I run, I do all of those things to keep myself in shape, because everything relies on my physical fitness to do my job. Emotionally and mentally, I have things I do, times that I just go off my device, pick up a physical book to read because I just want to unplug and disconnect, and then of course my spirituality. I'm a very spiritual person, so I just want you to kind of talk about this in relation to how everything ties together to aid high performance for individuals, teams, and organizations.
Again, see, I'm not sure there is any concept I'll talk about in the workplace without talking about leadership. and then,
Absolutely.
and then to this pyramid, this is me personally now. I think something is missing, and I'm so happy to critique an HBR publication
Article.
or
Right.
article. Sincerely, there is one missing.
Mm,
Financial capacity is missing. We
right.
can't run away from it,
Right.
honestly. So everything ties one to another. So I'm trying to read the definition of physical capacity: builds endurance and promotes mental and emotional recovery. You know,
Recovery.
this is one area that we are not talking about enough
Mm,
in today's world or today's workplace. We are not. And the example you alluded to earlier on about the guy who seemingly was doing well and all of a
mm,
sudden he thought the
mm,
best thing was suicide.
mm.
We are too focused on the soft life.
Right. Yeah. I said that yesterday.
Now, I am not saying this about any particular generation. I'm talking
Mm,
about all of us.
yes.
We are living in an era where we think because of the things we expose ourselves to and do not determine to not let profile pressure
Mm,
get to us. We get in the midst of all that and we put ourselves under unnecessary pressure.
pressure.
We
Right.
think that life is a straight line. I have
Right.
always said that life and all the things we do, career, business, family, everything is like the ECG report.
Yes.
You know
Thank
what I
you.
mean? It goes
Sinusoidal wave, up and down.
absolutely up and down. If you
Right.
see any ECG report and it's a straight line, what does it mean?
It's dead. Dead.
Absolutely. So we
Yes.
need to understand that we are built not for soft life. Soft
Mm,
life is an illusion.
yes.
And then another thing that I think we should run away from is what I call the comparison trap.
Yes.
It's not helping us as well.
Yes.
So we need to build one of the Qs. You know, there are many Qs now: IQ, EQ.
Mm-hmm.
I have PQ, political quotient.
Right.
There is adversity quotient as well. There is spiritual quotient. There is
Yes. Yes.
financial quotient. But we need to
Yes.
build all of that. All of that. We are juggling all of that at the same time. We can't
Mm,
leave our physical capacity um, unattended to.
yes.
Food we eat, the drinks we take, the
Yes.
things we expose ourselves to, even the
Mm,
news around us, local and global, all of
yes.
that affecting us. The exercise we don't do, and all of us are guilty. Let's
Yes.
not kid ourselves.
Right.
That's
Right.
that's true. Emotional capacity, the internal climate that drives the ideal performance state. So again,
So I
if
wanted to suggest that
sure,
maybe the money part is here under emotional capacity, because if I have financial capacity, I think my emotions, kind of stabilize a bit because
you'll
there's
be
some level
surprised.
of confidence.
You'll be surprised.
Okay.
Some people who are not too financially capable have more
Mm,
emotional intelligence or
right.
emotional capacity. capacity to deal with issues than individuals with the thousands and the millions. I promise
Yeah,
you.
true. Right.
So for both categories, it is recommended to be financially capable. But
Yes.
it doesn't mean that if you're financially capable, you'll be emotionally capable. I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Okay. I get you.
There's
I get
different
you.
things.
Yeah.
So, so self-awareness, self-growth, self-acceptance, self-discovery,
Mm.
self-regulation, self-management, social skills,
Yes.
all of that must be built into our ability to deliver for ourselves,
Mm.
primarily, to our
Yes.
teams, secondarily, and then to the organization at large.
Right.
We need to
Right.
build emotional capacity to deal with, again, horrible bosses.
Yes.
I
Correct.
have I have people who say my boss is XYZ and I want to quit. The first thing I say to them is don't quit. Number one, find ways to deal with the situation. I know it's affecting
Right.
you. I know that don't you can plan to exit, but you don't have to
Yes.
exit to nothing. I never
Yes.
encourage anyone to exit to nothing. It's just
Mm.
part of our growing up. We have to deal with issues, and one of the things I preach is emotional stability.
Mm. Right.
So again, leadership has a role to play, especially
Yes.
because we're talking of the workplace. To,
Mm.
I mean, I listened to Simon Sinek. You know what he said that was so profound. He said that leaders are responsible for the physical fitness of members of their organization, their health, their physical health, well-being
Wow. Okay.
as leaders, because that is part of the responsibilities of a leader. And I totally
Mm.
agree
Mm.
that I am physically well to be able to
Mm.
work is because the environment is good enough for me to do that.
Mm.
And it's the same
Yeah.
thing for emotional capacity. Because if I'm building myself up in different ways, but I come to work with a boss
And
who is just whatever name you want to call him or
mm.
her, it will mess up my emotional capacity. Mental
Mm.
capacity, focusing on the physical and emotional energy on the task
It's
at
at hand.
hand. So if you are physically good, emotionally good, you are likely to be mentally stable. So
Absolutely.
that's why I like it as a pyramid. So the
Yes. Yes.
foundation is physical capacity. The next is emotional. I would say between emotional and mental, let's tell HBR to
Financial.
include financial capacity. And it
Okay.
goes without saying, Shay,
Mm.
it goes without saying that if you're physically balanced, emotionally balanced, you will turn in good work
Yes.
every day. You will be recognized and rewarded for it.
Yes.
You may even
Correct.
see opportunities for investment around you because you are balanced emotionally. So you are making money from work because you are getting promoted, you are getting salary increases.
Yes.
There
Yeah.
is joy that comes from what you do, and you do more and all that.
Right.
So the financial capacity is okay, added to emotional and physical, then you are likely to be mentally solid. All
Yes.
three.
Correct.
You see
Yes.
what I mean? And
Yes.
SQ is spiritual quotient. We all need it. We all need to
Yes.
be in tune with our anchor. Everybody should have his own anchor.
Absolutely.
So when people ask me, and why are you? It seems you are always calm. People ask me this a lot. And when I was going through you or what you are going through, a couple of friends who are close to me, they're like, yes, you seem to be usually calm. And this is what I say. This is my own personal anchor. I say that
Mm.
his love for me in times past forbids me to think he'll leave me at last. So if
Mm.
I think of my anchor and I think of my
Mm.
data points and experiences over the years, and I see how my anchor, right, has brought me this far, given all that is happening physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, given all that is happening,
Mm-hmm.
if I look back and say how far I have come with grace alone, I know you know I say that a lot, grace only. I know
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
okay, if he handle the past, my anchor, he can handle the future. So it allows me
Mm.
to now include that balance in the first four. The first four: physical, emotional, financial, mental, and that is what that is like building a house. That's the roofing
Yes.
of that journey.
Yes. That's the
Right?
crown on
And
top.
I'm telling you, and if many people don't get that right, it may also impact all the other areas. So yes, I totally agree that our spiritual capacity has a big role to play in our in our total balance around us. I
Mm,
think the way Stephen Covey
mm.
puts it is that we are all juggling about 5 or 6 balls. So the physical
Yes.
aspect of
Yeah.
life, the mental, the emotional, the social, and then the spiritual. And it says that all those
Mm.
balls are made of glass. We can't afford
Mm-hmm. And not,
them to
you can't afford to. Yes. Correct.
when any of
Correct.
them short, it totally shatters and we may not be able to put it
Mm.
together. So that's how I see this pyramid within the place of work.
Absolutely. So I have two comments, right? First off, right, I'm going to reach out to these guys that wrote this article. I will draw a
Okay.
new pyramid that puts financial capacity in between emotional and mental. And I will
Yep.
tell them, you and I discussed this at this recording, this episode, and we're proposing that that should be added. That's first thing I'm going to do. And I'm going to
Awesome.
pursue that. Because, like I told you, it's something that I'm doing a lot of research on. So I'm going to do that and I just contact them and I'll put the two of us as reference for that update in that pyramid. And we'll see how that goes from there. Second
Awesome.
thing is just a comment about I know you do thank God is Monday, thank God is every day of the week, you know. And initially, some people, because I also copied that, full disclosure. So I do
Okay.
hashtag TGIM and all of that. And when I started, some people will comment and say, "Oh, what's good about Monday? Why am I saying thank God it's Monday?" And I'm like, guy, I've been reading this pyramid and I'm like, everything works for me. So I am thanking God that yes, it's a Monday, even though the same way people will do thank God it's Friday
It's
because they're like,
Friday.
oh, well, let's just get out of here. You know, so I do that on a daily basis. And I also realize what you said about the fact that it is actually a leadership thing that also helps or mars your growth when it comes to your career and even your
Yep.
life as
Yep.
individuals. I made a comment on X. Somebody was like, "Oh, can you advise your 25-year-old self
Hmm.
and give that person one advice?" And I responded to say, "My only advice will be get a mentor." Like I
Yep.
said earlier, those that know the way. And I said it this way: if you're in a dark tunnel, the
Hmm.
person that has a torchlight will never be at the back, it will be in front,
Correct.
right? So
Correct.
follow people that have been there, done that, like I
Yep.
said, got the t-shirt and they're wearing the t-shirt and they know exactly where you're going and let them help you navigate your life.
That
And to
journey.
a large extent, that's what I have experienced over my life and my career, my family, because I had mentors, people like you that I look up to, that I talk to and learn from. And then I just adopt whatever you say, because again, each individual is different. So I don't take
Correct.
it verbatim, but I include it and mold it into my own space to be able to help me move on. So thank you so much for that. Now let's just
Thank you.
conclude on this. Let's just conclude on this in 2 to 3 minutes. What advice would you give two sides to an employer concerning the now of work and the HR related challenges we've talked about, and also to the employee? We can wrap it up in like 2 3 minutes.
Okay, so I'll make it very brief. To the employer, the pendulum has moved. It's no
Right.
longer your market as an employer. The pendulum has shifted
It's
and
good.
fundamentally hinged from its
Mm,
base.
mm,
How we handle employee related issues, and this is about the employee life cycle. Recruit
right.
them, train them, reward them, performance manage them, even exit them. How we do
Yes.
all of that has fundamentally changed. Please, employers, move in tune with the times,
Mm,
right? The
mm,
era of the employer was the king. The employer was always right. That era is gone and it's gone
right.
forever. Not coming back. Never
Mm,
coming back. For the
mm,
employee, there are. I'll just say to them what I said on X, that's Twitter, a couple of weeks ago, and it created some fire on that
mm,
platform. Dream
right.
jobs are everywhere. So I'm talking to employees and candidates. Dream
Right.
jobs are everywhere, but dream employees are scarce. The
Scarce. Right.
need, the need of the workforce or the workplace in the now of work is totally different from what it used to be. We are
Mm.
looking for MVPs,
Right.
valuable players who are constantly either creating to revenue, I mean, or yeah, creating opportunities for revenue generation, who are helping us
Mm.
in terms of operational efficiency
Right.
or helping us to manage our cost while getting the best
Yes.
value. If you
Right.
cannot get an employee that is managing all three positions on the field of play, then you are the
MVP.
MVP. Move away your focus from a perfected CV.
Mm. Right.
As a matter of fact, a perfect CV is a red flag for me. Move away from a perfected CV to
Mm.
a package of perfected experience,
Right.
skills that are
Right.
relevant in the now of work. Do not forget, make yourself constantly relevant, and
Mm.
then you will either be recognized or rewarded. And if your
Right.
present employer doesn't recognize you or reward you for the value you bring to the table, another one will. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You were right on the money. It was 3 minutes from the time I told you to talk about it. So thank you so much for this. I know you have another engagement, so we're just going to wrap this up as quickly as possible. But
Right.
guess what? We live in the same city now, so we're going to see physically. We've been doing this virtual thing for so long. I think we need to sit down physically and just catch up and talk and see
Sure.
how we can get involved in some of the things you're doing as well. Thank you so much for giving us the
Thank you.
privilege to sit with you for an hour and 12 minutes. And
Thank you.
it just feels like we're just starting. And that's the fun I have chatting with you because we go, across everything. So thank you
Mm.
so much. We wish you all the best in your next
Thank you.
engagement.
Thank you, Shay.
Um, and we'll catch up with you. I will catch up with you physically first off, and then the community will catch up with you on another time when we have something doing. So
Awesome.
appreciate you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day. To
Thank you, Shay.
everybody, this is the end of episode 6, but episode 7 is coming as we step into July, the second half of the year, with another guest of mine, someone as fantastic as YF, and the session will be firerized like this as well. So look out for that, and then we'll catch up month on month till we get to December, and then we'll do a wrap up of the year first week in January. So enjoy the rest of your day. It's weekend. Go out there, jog, do exercise. Just feel better so that you can do. Thank God it's Monday on Monday, and be excited to get back to work. Have a nice day, guys. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.